Today we're going to look at writing equations for lines in two different situations. When we're given the slope and the y-intercept, which we've done a lot of already, and when we're just given a slope and a point that's not the y-intercept, which will be your new information for today. So let's recall that all linear graphs have the equation written in the form y equals mx plus b. And we should know that m is the slope, and we know that slope is your rise over your run, or an easier way to write it is delta y over delta x. And we also know that the b is the y-intercept. And we know that it's written as the point 0, comma b, and we always find it when x is equal to 0. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at that first part when we're given a slope and a y-intercept of a line and write the equation. So we're going to use our favorite equation of the year. Y equals mx plus b. So mx plus b. And we are always going to be replacing the m with the slope and the b with the y-intercept. So example 1 says we have a slope of 2/3, so that's going to be our m, and the line passes through the point 0, 5. Well, remember, y-intercepts are always written with the point 0, comma, a number. So since x is 0, we know this 5 is going to be our y-intercept. Not a lot of work to do here. We're just going to write our equation. Y equals, in place of m, I'm going to write the number 2/3. In place of x, we're going to put x. And then since the y-intercept is a positive 5, I'm going to write plus 5. Example 2 says we have a horizontal line passing through the point 0, -6. Remember, a horizontal line looks like this. And recall what Slope Dude says when he's trying to scan that horizontal line. He says it is 0 fun. So therefore our slope, our m, is equal to 0. And it's passing through the point 0, -6. So again, x is 0, so our y-intercept is going to be a -6. So we can write our equation as y equals, in place of m, we can put a 0. We'll keep the x. And since our b is a -6, we're going to write -6. Now, we can write that more simply. We can write y equals, and 0 times x just gives us 0, and 0 minus 6 is -6. Now let's move into the stuff that is new for us today. We're going to be given the slope and a point on the line that is not the y-intercept, which means we're going to have to do a little bit of math. So we're going to use our favorite equation again, using the equation y equals mx plus b we're going to start by replacing the m with the slope. Okay, because if we read up here, find the equation of the line that has the slope of 1.5, so m is 1.5, and passes through the point 5, comma 9.5. So go over here, let's write y equals, and it's going to be very helpful if you continue to write this equation, y equals mx plus b. All right, so right now, all we know is that m is our slope of 1.5. So let's go ahead and fill in 1.5 for m. And we know we're trying to find a b, so let's go ahead and we know we have to find b, which means I need an x and a y value. So this says using the given point 5, 9.5 in the equation above, replace the x with the 5, because remember points are written as x, y, and the y with the 9.5. Then use symbolic method to find the value of b. Okay, so we're going to go to the y, and we're going to put a 9.5. And in place of x, we're going to put a 5. And so now we have the equation 9.5 equals 1.5 times 5 plus b. So let's go ahead and simplify our 1.5 times 5. So bring down your 9.5 equals, and 1.5 times 5 is going to give us 7.5 plus b. To get b all alone, we need to subtract 7.5 from both sides. 9.5 minus 7.5 is 2. 7.5 minus 7.5 cancels. We'll bring down the b. So now we have a y-intercept of 0, 2. Rewrite the equation with the given slope and y-intercept we found in step 2. Okay? So step 3, so we're going to write y equals, in place of m is that same slope we had, 1.5 x, and then since our y-intercept is a positive 2, I'm going to do plus 2. Now we could take our graphing calculator and check and see if that is correct. So let's pause the video for a minute and go ahead and do that. Now that you've had a chance to use your graphing calculator to check your work, let's go ahead and look at example 4. Example 4 has a slope of 5 and passes through the point 3, 23. So let's label what we know. We know that slope of 5 is going to be our m. And we know the point 3, 23 is going to be our x, y. So if we go ahead and write y equals mx plus b, we can fill in what we know, okay? I know a y. Underneath this y is the number 23. So underneath this y, I want to put the number 23. And that is equal to my m value. Underneath the m, I have a 5. So underneath the m, I'm going to put a 5. Underneath the x, I have a 3. So under this x, I want to put a 3. Plus, b is what we're looking for. So we keep the b right here. Now we're going to go ahead and simplify. We get 23 equals 5 times 3 is 15 plus b. To get b all alone, we're going to subtract 15 from both sides. 23 minus 15 gives us 8. 15 minus 15 is 0, and we have a b. So we know our y-intercept is 0, 8. Now we can write the equation with a slope of 5 passing through 323 as y equals, in place of m, we get to put the number 5. We will keep our x in place. And since the y-intercept is a positive 8, we will write plus 8. Now pause the video and do the U-try on your own. All right, let's see how you did on that U-try. So if I have slope of 1/2, m is my 1/2, and I'm given the point 10, 20. So x, y. So let's go ahead and write our equation. Y equals, in place of m, oh, we're not putting anything in yet, m x plus b. Okay? So in place of y, under this y I have a 20, so under my y in my equation I have a 20, and that is equal to, m happens to be 1/2. Under the x here I have a 10, so under the x in the equation I want to put times 10, Since I'm multiplying by a fraction, I'm going to put it over 1. And then I have plus b. Don't lose your b, you always have to keep your b. So then I have 20 equals half of 10 is 5 plus b. To get b alone, we're going to subtract 5 from both sides. 20 minus 5 is 15. 5 minus 5 is 0. And let's bring down that b. So our y-intercept is 0, 15. Now we can write our equation. Y equals 1/2 x, and since my y-intercept is a positive 15, I can write plus 15. And that is the end of our examples for today.